Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today we're jumping into some Tales from the Front Desk. Before we start, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free and you can always change your mind later. But if you stick around, you'll get my undying gratitude, which is much better than a promise about cookies, right? Alright, to start things off, we have 3 separate stories from Angela Is Not My Name. The first one is What the Actual F Week, Episode 1 Can't Get Right. Let's jump right in. It's only Thursday, but since last Friday, 3/10, it's just been what the actual So I was thinking of starting a short series of stories highlighting the crazier parts of the week. Today is my off day and I'm on mobile, so I'll try to make this a quick story about my coworker. Her name is Can't Get Right. Can't Get Right is an NA rehire. She previously worked for the hotel for 10 years. Some drama happened and she was let go or whatever, then recently decided she wanted to come back under the new management. Through anecdotes and personal experience, Can't Get Right can be best described as a warm body behind the desk at night. She's reliable, both in the fact that she's always early for her shifts and in the fact that she is going to F some crap up. We could fill a book with all the stuff she's done wrong, but we'll focus on the day before yesterday. She relieves me maybe 2 or 3 nights out of the week. I've learned that I have to leave her something mundane to do. Otherwise, she gets curious fingers and starts messing up people's reservations. She's like a toddler. I always leave laundry for her to do. I try to help out where I can, but it's part of her nightly duties anyway. She's not good at laundry. Again, she's like a toddler. But we gotta take L's somewhere. We'd rather have sloppily folded towels than a double booked or double charged or canceled reservation, thanks to her. I left her laundry as usual. Then I had to come right back in the morning. I always walk into her sitting quietly at the desk with her hands folded across her stomach, much like a child giving off the impression that they were good all day, only for you to find the mess they made later. We exchanged pleasantries, then she left. I went to the snack area to see what needed replenishing, and our fridge houses some wedge sandwiches. The shelf life on these is about 7 days. We usually have turkey and ham. They're $5 each and usually don't sell very well. For this reason, we only put out 3 of each type at a time and keep the rest in the back freezer so they don't go bad. This is information that was spoken about and posted about. Our FOM does our inventory and she's terrifying when she's pissed. So the rest of us obey the rules. When I left the night before, there were 3 ham sandwiches in the fridge. We were out of turkey, so this was okay. I returned to find 9 ham sandwiches in the fridge. I could see it if Can't Get Right thought she was putting out a different flavor because the packaging is identical. But 9 is not an even number and wouldn't follow the 3 each rule we have for 2 sandwich types. I tried to see if they were still frozen enough to put back in the freezer. Nope, fully thawed. Bye-bye ham sandwiches. This is honestly not the worst thing she's done, or even the worst thing that happened this week, but it adds to Can't Get Right's rep and a pretty crazy week at the hotel. I'll need the full range of a keyboard to properly convey all the nonsense. Alright, story number 2 from the same OP, What the Actual F Week, Episode 2, Far From Home. Let's jump right in. Welcome back. Despite my best efforts, I'm on mobile again, so let me attempt another short story. My GM had mentioned a couple times this week that a group was coming in for the first time and that we really wanted their business. They were from somewhere in Canada. Our hotel is at the bottom of the United States. After some canceled flights due to weather, the day finally came for this small group to check in. 2 girls arrived at the same time. The ladies give me their IDs and I see that they are 20 years old. Our check-in age is 21, but because they are thousands of miles away from home and there's already a credit card authorization on file for their room and tax, I choose to skim over this detail. Not too much skimming though, I absolutely insisted on getting their card on file for incidentals. The first girl pulled out her debit card and inserted into our machine. Immediate error. She wiped it off, tried again, error. I told her to try swiping. Nope, doesn't work. We tried to type in the number and I saw she was getting irritated. She stopped at the part for her expiration date. There's no expiry on this card. I gently grabbed the card from her and pointed out the 4 numbers at the bottom. She was shocked. The card still didn't work. I did what I could on my end, tried entering the numbers myself, thinking she was too flustered to put them in correctly. I even tried lowering the amount for incidentals. I still gotta have something. She insisted she had more than enough money on her card. Nothing worked. In hindsight, her card wasn't a major credit card brand. That's probably why it didn't work. But our machine doesn't indicate which cards are taken, and I never had to think about it. She took her card back and stepped aside to make a phone call. I started checking in the second girl, and I heard the first girl sniffling behind her. I felt so bad. I totally empathized with her. Being young and so far away without a working debit card is terrifying. I wished there was more I could do. Back to the second girl, she gave me her name, which should have been added as an accompanying guest to the reservation holder. We'll call him James. There is one lone reservation remaining for James, but it has a different name attached. I asked if she knew the name attached. Yep, completely different girl, arriving later that day. I searched the second girl's name in the system. I found another reservation for James with the second girl's name attached. Cancelled. Can't get right, strikes again. She canceled the room, citing illness. Ain't nobody tell her nobody was sick. Even the girl was like, the F? No, I'm fine. Thankfully, I was able to reinstate the room. In the middle of me doing this, the first girl came back and asked if I could take a number over the phone. Unfortunately, I needed a physical card. This upset her more. My last resort for the first girl was to charge James's card for incidentals, kinda as punishment for him sending these girls to this hotel with so little prep and research. But then an angel appeared in the form of girl number 2. Why don't you just use my card? After some back and forth and hesitation, girl number 2's card was added and I was able to successfully check both girls in. They checked out today after staying with us for 4 days. Girl number 1's card was fixed very quickly, allowing a few shopping trips and dining out opportunities. All was well. Moving right on to story number 3 from the same OP, What the Actual F Week, Episode 3, What Happened to This Room? Let's jump right in. So we meet again. I finally have the luxury of a keyboard in front of me, so let's continue the series with a story that actually rounded out this morning. Last Wednesday, I was well into my bad habit of staying after my shift to talk to my coworker. My shift ended at 3 p.m. This incident happened around 7 p.m. A guest who was staying with us for a few days returned to the hotel from his conference. He stopped at the desk to ask us something. I forgot what. He then retreated to his room. 2 minutes later, my coworker got a phone call from that same guest. I can't hear him, but I can tell by her face that he was not happy. She apologized to him and mentioned that she would be up to his room shortly. I asked her what happened, and she said he told her that someone had been in his room. I volunteered to go up to the room with her. Angry man and small defenseless woman don't ever go together in my head. We got to the room, and the man showed us piles of stuff around his room. Towels from the bathroom in one pile, all his bed linens in another pile, pillows stacked on a chair in the corner, the toilet paper holder empty and sitting on the counter, a bag of trash, and his toiletry bag sitting on top. What? The way everything was laid out, it definitely points to a housekeeper, especially since none of his stuff was missing, according to him. No one else would have access to his room. But one thing my coworker and I were stuck on was the fact that this man's reservation was for 3 days. Housekeepers only do stayover service every 7 days, so there was no reason to be in this room at all. The room next door to his was due to be cleaned, so maybe the housekeeper got confused. The other thing we were stuck on was, if a housekeeper did do this, she would have realized her mistake and put everything back the way it was. So did he do it? There was literally only 2 minutes between the time he was in the lobby and the time he called the front desk. Not enough time for the mess that was made. Unless he did it before he left? We had no way of knowing. My first thought was to check the cameras, but his room was in an unfortunate blind spot. He wanted to know what we were going to do about this. I would call the manager and have him call that housekeeper back to fix this, he suggested. Great idea in theory. Not going to happen, I can tell you that right now, but truly great idea. We really only had 2 options. We, the two FDAs, totally untrained in housekeeping, could fix the room ourselves, or we could move him to another room. We presented him with both options, and he chose to keep his room and have us fix it, since he was too tired to move. Fair enough, I let my coworker continue her coverage of the front desk while I tackled restoring this guest room. I already had an appreciation for housekeeping, for all the stuff they have to do on a day-to-day basis, all the sounds they hear, all the things they find. Ick! I'm not sure I could do that every day. But fighting with that duvet cover, my appreciation has deepened. The whole process took about 20 minutes. In that time, the guest's mood had improved. We talked about pizza, about how certain chains are better overseas. He asked about the area and mentioned that he may have to come back. Once I was done making everything look mediocre, I let him know that we were comping his stay for one night, giving him free parking, and depositing points into his account. He asked for my name and my coworker's name so that he could leave a review, which has not been made at the time of this post. When my GM and HSK exec reviewed the events, they were happy with the course of action we took, but still had a suspicion that the guest did this himself to get a free night. Still, we had no way to prove this until today. We had our morning meeting and the HSK exec asked me about some other details of that day. One of our veteran housekeepers, who had been gone for a few days, wanted to know what we were talking about. We told her, and I showed her the pics I had on my phone. Her face dropped. It was her. She said she mixed up the floors she was supposed to be on and recalled the conversation about it to the HSK exec. The HSK exec slowly remembered. The housekeeper didn't have an excuse as to why she didn't go back and fix the room, other than she forgot. She did feel really bad though. Not much we can do now, so we told the housekeeper it was okay and thanked her for taking ownership. Okay, let's go back to the first story and can't get right. Why the heck did the new owners hire this person back on? They were fired for a reason, right? And I think it's plainly obvious what that reason was, considering how much trouble they caused. This is even more evident in the second story where they canceled somebody's reservation due to illness, but didn't even talk to a person. Who goes into random reservations and cancels them for random reasons? This makes no sense. That should be fireable immediately. What would have happened if the hotel was completely booked up and there wasn't another room available for that girl? On the third story, OP said that they were still there talking to their coworker 4 hours after their own shift ended. OP, do you think maybe your coworker wanted to get some, work done during that time? Or maybe have some quiet time? I mean, maybe there's something here you're not telling us, like a relationship that might be staying quiet, I don't know. But if somebody tried to stay an extra 4 hours and talk to me when I was supposed to be working, I would probably let them know that I need to work and they need to go home. I do want to say on that third story though, kudos to that housekeeper who owned up to her own mistake. That doesn't happen very often. Very nice to hear that. Alright, moving on to our next story from Other Cantaloupe 4765. Why don't you start acting like a human and give us a room? It's not my fault you don't want the room you booked through the OTA. I can't do crap when you book through a third party like an idiot. Let's jump right in. A family comes in late that night, probably around 11:30 p.m. Mom, dad, and 2 young kids, probably around the age of 5 or 6. Nothing out of the ordinary. They booked a prepaid, non-refundable reservation through a third party. Whatever. Checked them in and they went up to their room. They'd booked a suite, which is a queen bed and a pull-out sofa bed. 20 minutes later, they all come back down with their crap and say that's not the type of room they booked. They booked a room with 2 queen beds. I said, sorry, that's what came through on the reservation, and I can't change anything on a PPNF reservation. They'd have to take it up with the company they booked it through. The lady said she needed 2 beds. I'm supposed to have 2 beds. 2! There are 4 people here. Use your common sense. Why would you put 4 people in a room that only has 1 bed? Ma'am, that's not how it works. I didn't make your reservation. I didn't pick the room type, and I can't change anything. You booked through a third party, so you need to fix this with the third party. This isn't my fault. I need 2 beds. How are we all supposed to sleep in a room with only 1 bed? Well, it certainly isn't my fault, and the room does have 2 beds, a queen bed and a pull-out sofa bed. That doesn't count. We need 2 beds. How do you suggest we all sleep in a room with 1 bed and a sofa bed? That's up to you. I can even get you a rollaway bed if you want it. That's not what I reserved. You'd have to take that up with the OTA. Lady, there are seriously 2 beds in that room. Have the kids sleep on the sofa bed. They're kids. They don't care where they sleep. And little kids love being able to sleep in places other than their own bed. It's an adventure for them. I can't even count the number of kids who come in excited to sleep on the window seat. Of course, the woman was pissed at me because why not? Why not yell at the FDA for an F-up they didn't make? The man showed me the confirmation email they got for the room, and it confirmed that they booked a suite. Surprise, surprise. Man called the OTA rep and talks for a solid half hour before coming back over to the desk and telling me that the third party upgraded them from a double queen room to a suite without notice. Nah, I don't know what BS they're telling ya, but your confirmation email very clearly listed the room as a suite at the time you made the reservation. More talking on the phone. Kids are asleep in the lobby chairs, but no, they can't sleep anywhere other than an actual bed. Mom is huffing and rolling her eyes and pacing. Dude is on the phone trying to get the room changed. OTA has already called me twice and asked me to change the room type, even though I literally can't. What's up with OTAs always asking me to do their job? Ugh. You made the reservation. You can fix it. I can't do anything from here. Third party doesn't want to do anything. They're getting more money from a suite than from a double room, and apparently don't want to give it up. I'd already told the man that his best bet was to make a reservation on the spot and deal with the third party later on. I was on audit shift, so I was just chilling and doing my work while these people sat in my lobby. Hey, not my problem. At one point, I heard the lady say that she was never using that OTA again. She was using another OTA in the future instead. Bruh. How about you don't book with an OTA at all and save us all the effing trouble? It's been over an hour. I don't care. It's not like I have to waste my time sitting on the phone trying to fix a mistake I didn't make. It's their time, not mine. The man is still on the phone, but the lady storms up to the desk and says, "We've been sitting here for over an hour. My kids are exhausted. Mistakes get made, things get messed up sometimes, but sooner or later you'll have to act like a human. So why don't you start acting like a human and give us a room?" Ma'am, I'm sorry you're so upset about this. I can give you a rollaway bed and that's it. If you don't want it, you're welcome to leave and find another place to stay. And they took the rollaway bed. I brought it up to their room and they had me push it inside. Whatever, their kids were sleeping. The room was dark, and this lady starts telling me that she doesn't want to leave a bad review because I was so polite, but she would if my manager didn't discount the price or refund her. B, leave that bad review then, I don't give an F. All that, and she still doesn't understand how the OTA works. I'm shocked at the amount of people who use OTAs without knowing how they work. To give you an idea of how the comment section went on this one, let's read a couple of edits that OP left on this story. The first one says, edit, wow, this has drawn in a lot of OTA bootlickers. Didn't know so many of you lurked here waiting to kiss OTA butt whenever someone mentions them. If you want to defend an OTA, go get a job at a hotel and learn how they work. Edit number 2, my head hurts and I can't deal with all the ignorant Fs who act like I can just break the contract between franchise owner and a third-party company. I'm a front desk agent. Neither I nor my managers have control over this, and telling me that we do doesn't make it true. If you don't work at a hotel, then shut the F up with your uneducated opinions. Don't make accusations about things you clearly don't understand. And to those who are telling me to quit, yeah, not everyone is an entitled rich prick whose mommy pays their bills. Some people don't have the luxury to quit on the spot. I like my job, but third parties suck butt, and so does anyone who defends them. In short, go F yourselves, because I'm not dealing with any more BS today. OTA butt kissers and dumb butt superiority complex MFs will be blocked and ignored. To take this one step further, the mods of Tales from the Front Desk locked the comment because it was getting too out of hand. Wow. Okay, putting all the drama aside, let's go back to the story for a second here. So, when this lady told them that they didn't want to leave a bad review because they were polite, but if the manager didn't discount the price or refund or blah 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 blah, oh, OP should have responded to that one and said, ma'am, unfortunately, since you booked through a third-party travel site, we literally don't have the ability to do a refund. Oh, her head probably would have exploded. Check out both OPs linked in the description down below. I thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.